Hello, Ocean Ambassadors.
Hello, Ocean Ambassadors.
Hi, Ocean Ambassadors.
Hi, my name is Shelby Stout. I'm the data manager here at the Marine Mammal Center, and the majority of my job is focused around transitioning our physical animal records to an electronic record-keeping system so that we don't have to use paper records anymore. So on the screen here, I have the record for Snaggle, a Guadalupe fur seal that came in with an entanglement. And if we look here, we have the stranded animal report for the animal, where it came from, and what was wrong with it, including that it had an entanglement. So we know that it was a green nylon netting, and we can even bring up photos from the beach where the animal was. But we're going to go back to the animal record here, and we actually keep all of the entanglements off of our animals to use for educational purposes. So we also report that information to NOAA Fisheries Service so they can maintain a broad scope of understanding of what animals are affected by marine debris. So we remove the entanglement off the animal, and this is actually Snaggle's entanglement. This was around the neck of a little tiny Guadalupe fur seal. And in our system here, we're able to record all the information so that we can search that information and share it with partner agencies, educators, researchers that are looking into causes of marine debris in the ocean. So I have been working here a long time, and I really enjoy the opportunity of this new challenge to put into a searchable format so that we can pull out this information to share with other entities to find out what we can do to prevent more incidents like this from occurring.
Hi, my name is Dr. Claire Simeone, and I'm a conservation medicine veterinarian here at the Marine Mammal Center. And in addition to caring for our patients here, I also do research and I work out in the field to help understand how wild animals and their health may affect our patients. And so one of the really important things tools that we use here at the center are patient charts. And so this is an example of a harbor seal named Flufflepuff that we had as a patient here this year. And when an animal first comes in, they'll get a physical exam, so that might entail taking their temperature or drawing some blood or collecting a sample like some fur so that we can understand whether they've been exposed to mercury. And anytime that we take a sample, it's important to record what sample we've taken and record the results, and then we also record all of our observations that we find over the course of the physical exam. And collecting those types of data are really important to give us a full picture of the patient's health while they're here. And it can also help to inform about wild animals and help to look at the bigger picture. And one of the best and most favorite parts of my job is the fact that I get to help individual animals, but I also get to help conserve species and help to understand the health of our ocean. And that to me is really exciting.
Hi, my name is Mitch Fong. I have two roles here at the Marine Mammal Center. First, I'm in my 14th season as an animal care specialist. That is, as a volunteer, I work out in the pens and with the animals. In addition to that, I also work in the development office as an employee. That's a fancy way of saying I help raise money to run the Marine Mammal Center. In both of those roles, I think the neat thing about working at the Marine Mammal Center, both as a volunteer and as a fundraiser, is that I get to actually work with the animals. And they kind of cross over because the information that we get from these animals helps me tell the story of what the Marine Mammal Center does to donors who would like to maybe participate by giving us money to help us run our programs like the Ocean Ambassadors. A great example is we had a southern sea otter here named Yankee Doodle. First and foremost, southern sea otters are wonderful for the ocean. So to play a part in helping rehabilitate southern sea otters is not only great for us, as me personally as a volunteer, because I think southern sea otters are some of the cutest things in the world, but also for the overall ocean conservation, which is what we work on. One of the things that's really special about Yankee Doodle's case is Yankee Doodle is actually suspected of suffering from domoic acid. And the reason why that's so interesting to us is, first off, domoic acid we usually see them in a different animal, the California sea lions. So to see domoic acid in another species was interesting. The other reason why it's interesting is because domoic acid is something where humans also are affected by. We have, through the data that we collect on domoic acid here at the Marine Mammal Center, the authorities, when they know that there is that toxin present, they have even shut down entire fisheries because they don't want humans to eat food which is actually toxic because of that domoic acid. So when we see domoic acid in another species, that is a really interesting case for us to be able to study. My favorite thing about working here at the Marine Mammal Center, it is being able to not only help an animal, I'm an animal lover and I think that means something to me, but knowing that my work with any animal actually is helping us save our oceans. And the oceans are where we get so much of our food, we get the majority of our oxygen, and 99+% of our biosphere is in our oceans. And I love being able to be a part of that.
Hi, I am Carlos Rios and I am the laboratory manager at the Marine Mammal Center. And my job here is basically help the veterinarians diagnose our animals that are sick so they can get properly treated. We use charts that are created for every animal and to get some information from the animals like sex, age class, observations from the volunteers in the pens, and observations from the veterinarians that help us understand better the results that we get from our lab. And what we basically do in the lab is we get samples from the veterinarians, blood, urine, and sometimes fecal samples, and we use our instruments here to test those samples, and we can give the results to the veterinarians so they can properly treat the animal. Like the case that I have here in my hands is the chart from Fins. It's one of our sea lions that's stranded, meaning that it was found on the beach, and when it got to the center, observations from the veterinarians suspected an infection with a little microorganism that is called Sarcocystis. It's a big word for a tiny microorganism that affects the muscles in the animals. The animal was had blood taken, and then we tested it here in the lab, and some of the results didn't confirm the diagnosis, but helped the veterinarians ask us to send more blood to a special lab that really confirmed that Fins was infected with Sarcocystis. And that way Fins got treated for it, and the treatment was successful, so Fin was released after treatment. One of the reasons why I really like to work here is just the fact that we get animals like Fins that get these infections, get treated here by the veterinarians, and the volunteers care for these animals, and that is an amazing job that they do. And the fact that we can help them treat the animal and get the animal back to the ocean is also an amazing feeling.
Hi, my name is Barbie Halaska and I'm the necropsy manager here at the Marine Mammal Center. Any animal that comes into the rehabilitation facility and dies comes to us here in necropsy. What that means is that we'll actually open the animal up, find out what's going on with it and why it died. So this animal here, this animal's name was Gecko, and he unfortunately died in our care and came to us. What we found on necropsy was a very bad bacterial infection called leptospirosis, which affects the kidneys. But with leptospirosis comes other problems, and one of those is congestion of the lungs, or basically too much blood pooling in the lungs, not allowing it to go and filter throughout your body doing what it needs to do. Because there's this problem in the lungs, it opens up an area for Paraphiloroides, a lungworm, to come on in and kind of take up residence within the lungs and cause more problems along those lines. I love the Marine Mammal Center. It's an amazing place to work. I learn so much every day that I come here, either from education folks like the teachers you guys have, or from animals on the table, or a pathologist, or volunteers that are very knowledgeable in their fields. So it's an amazing place to be.